Revealed, the amazing secret plan I discovered that changed my life forever. After 12 heartbreaking relationships, Jamie sat on the edge of her bed, tear-streaked cheeks glistening in the morning sun. The weight of years spent juggling her two kids, 7-year-old Lily and 5-year-old Max, combined with her dead-end job at the local grocery store, felt like an anchor tied to her heart. Once, she dreamed of travel, of adventure, of a life filled with romance and laughter. Now, it felt like those dreams floated further away every day. Romance had left her aching and embarrassed, nothing but empty promises and heart-shattering disappointment. As she threw the last of their tattered clothes into a laundry basket, Jamie caught a glimpse of the chipped wall paint that needed fixing, and a thrum of anger surged inside her. Why was she fighting so hard when there seemed to be no way out? She had given up on love, but now she found herself burdened by judgment from her family, who couldn't understand her choices, the men she had loved, the ones that had left her in far darker places than they found her. "Head up, Jamie," she whispered to herself, trying to muster a moment of resolve amidst the chaos. That Sunday morning, as the sweet scent of cinnamon rolls filled the air and the whispers of neighbors echoed in the old church, Jamie stumbled upon the women's support group tucked away in a small corner room. From the moment she stepped in, the stories welcomed her like an embrace. These women spoke of resilience, of failure, and the strength to rise again. Jamie couldn't help but lean in, her heart racing as each shared moment resonated with her own experiences. "I lost myself in relationships," she confessed, her voice trembling. "Chasing love, I forgot I was worthy, too." The women listened intently, heads nodding in understanding, and in that moment she felt a flicker of hope ignite within. At last, she wasn't alone, but her newfound bond didn't last long. Just days later, her small town was hit hard with the news: the factory that employed generations including her brother was closing. The familiar chatter of the town faded, replaced by uncertainty and fear. People looked to her, and she could feel their panic coiling like steam beneath the town's surface. Jamie felt raw, exposed, frayed at the edges. Then, out of the blue, her phone rang. It was Derek, an old flame, the what-if guy who once made her heart race. His proposal was enticing: a job in the city, a chance for something more. "I can offer you security, Jamie," he said, his voice filled with promise, a new beginning. The lure of financial stability dangled in front of her like a shimmering prize. But could she really turn her back on the community that had been her lifeline? The decision weighed heavily, forcing Jamie to confront the wounds of her past and her own sense of worthiness. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the weight of the decision bore down on her, Jamie decided to attend a town hall meeting scheduled for that coming Wednesday. It was a moment of truth for all of them. Voices clamored for support, families united in fear, anger, and determination. Everyone would rise together, and she wondered, did she have the courage to take a stand for her home, her family, and her newfound sisters, even if it meant sacrificing her own dreams? The air buzzed with anxiety and urgency, and just as she gathered her thoughts, each tick of the clock drummed a silent beat of fate. Would she stand with the community that had embraced her, or would she chase a fleeting promise of salvation? The answers danced tantalizingly close, mingled with hope and anxiety, urging her to make a choice as she stood at the crossroads of her life. The town hall loomed before her, its old brick structure steeped in memories and struggles. Jamie stepped inside, heart pounding, as familiar faces filled the room. Neighbors whispered, sharing their fears of redundancy and loss, but there was also a prevailing thread of unity that made her spine straighten just a little. This was her place. These were her people. As she took her seat, she scanned the crowd, searching for familiar eyes. She spotted Clara, a single mom struggling to keep her head above water, next to Mark, her brother who had been so quiet since the factory's closure was announced. The atmosphere was thick with emotion, each person battling their personal storm while wrapped in the shared tumult around them. The mayor, a portly man with a booming voice and an air of confidence, stepped up to the podium. "We're here to fight for our town," he declared, a passion igniting the room. Jamie felt a swell of determination welling up inside her like a tide. She listened intently as stories came pouring forth, tales of hardship and dreams deferred. Each voice was a shard of glass with sharp edges, cutting through her hesitations until she couldn't help but raise her own hand. "I have something to say," she blurted out, the words tumbling from her lips before she could catch them. Silence fell. All eyes turned to her, and Jamie swallowed hard. This was it. This was her moment to find her voice. "We've been through so much. We can't let this factory's closure define us," she called out, her voice trembling, yet strong. "Together, we've supported each other. Why not fight for our future together?" The crowd held its breath. Was she really suggesting they band together? An unexpected surge of courage flooded through her. She could almost see her dreams hovering in the air, an escapade that went beyond the confines of her small existence. But for that, she needed them by her side. A ripple of murmurs passed through the audience. Then she caught sight of Clara's nodding head, and that ignited a fire within her. "We can create a plan. Hold fundraisers, reach out to bigger businesses. We could be the voice our community needs." The momentum shifted. One voice led to another, building like a chorus. Support flowed, and Jamie found herself swept up in it, the fears of rejection fading into the background. Each shared idea added weight to her convictions until she felt buoyed by their collective strength. After the meeting, Jamie felt unshakable. She walked home that evening, her mind racing with possibilities. She envisioned random acts of kindness spreading through town, long nights of planning, and community build-ups that drew people closer than ever before. For the first time in ages, she felt the flicker of purpose dance inside her. As she closed the door behind her, Lily and Max greeted her with laughter, their innocent joy brightening the dim corners of her day. "Mommy! We made cookies!" Lily exclaimed, flour dusting her cheeks. That sweetness wrapped around Jamie like a warm hug, but memories of Derek's tempting offer still lingered, taunting her with the promise of escape. He was waiting for her answer, perched in the shadows of what could be a potential passport to a life that shimmered like a mirage. Torn between her yearning to embrace her community and the siren call of a secure life in the city, Jamie found herself at yet another crossroads. Would she cling to the burgeoning connection with her town, or would she chase the enticing allure of a fresh start? As Jamie tucked the kids into bed that night, their sleepy eyes blinking up at her, she realized that her heart hadn't stopped pleading for a chance to be whole again. Would it be possible to find a way to do both, to remain rooted in her home while also daring to dream big? And somewhere deep within, a question loomed wildly: could she really gather enough strength not just for herself, but for everyone who believed in her, in this town? The next morning dawned brighter than Jamie had anticipated. Sunlight poured through her kitchen window, illuminating the dust motes swirling in the air. As she made coffee, the rich aroma filled her with a sense of optimism. She needed that. Today was the day she would reach out to the town's residents, setting in motion the plans that ignited her passion last night. Once Lily and Max were off to school, Jamie grabbed her notebook and headed outside. She found a quiet spot on the front porch, the wooden floorboards warm beneath her feet. The town buzzed to life around her, the sound of lawnmowers and chatter from neighbors carrying through the air. She felt the familiar rhythm of home weaving its way into her heart. With a deep breath, she jotted down notes about her ideas, anything she could gather from the meeting and the sparks of inspiration buzzing in her mind. Fundraisers would be first, a community cook-off, perhaps. Local bands could play for donations, and everything could be topped off with a bake sale. Jamie smirked, thinking of Clara's cookie prowess. Suddenly, a soft knock broke her concentration. She looked up to find Clara standing on her lawn, holding a tray of the very cookies she had just imagined. "Thought you could use an extra boost this morning," she smiled, brushing a stray hair from her face. "Perfect timing." Jamie laughed, accepting the tray. As they settled on the porch steps, the weight of the previous night's meeting was lifted slightly. They discussed ideas, their voices mingling with the energy of the town. Clara shared her fears, but with each plan they devised together, a new path seemed to light up before them. Time slipped by until Jamie's phone buzzed, pulling her from their joyful brainstorming. It was a text from Derek. "Hey, have you thought about my offer? I'd love to help you out." The words swirled in her head, tangling with her new commitments. Ugh, that guy. Clara rolled her eyes as Jamie shared the message, the tone of the conversation shifting. Does he always have to swoop in when you're feeling inspired? She didn't know how to respond, feeling that same tug-of-war within her. But Clara continued, "Listen, Jamie, don't let him cloud your vision. This town needs you. You have a gift for bringing people together. Don't forget that." Jamie smiled, but worry flickered in her eyes. Could she really build something beautiful here? Still debating what to do about Derek, she couldn't shake the thought of being drawn away from her people. Days passed, and the community cook-off loomed ever closer. Flyers had been put up, excitement simmering through the town. Jamie's heart raced each time a neighbor asked how they could help or volunteered their time. It was like they were weaving a communal fabric, and though terrifying, it was exhilarating, too. However, Derek's persistence started to throb in her mind, a dangerous melody competing with the symphony of unity forming around her. An unexpected text from him shattered her focus. "Just say the word, and I'll come to help with the cook-off. We can plan something bigger than you've ever dreamed." Her pulse quickened. Was he really going to show up? Jaw clenched, Jamie could feel the weight of conflict pressing down on her. This was the moment she'd prepared for, an opportunity to prove that with connection, they could rise. But what of Derek with his tempting allure? As she stood at the edge of the town square, watching friends and neighbors set up their booths for the cook-off, Jamie felt a familiar tightening in her chest. The wind rustled through the trees, urging her to choose. She didn't realize how deep her affection for her town had grown until this moment. Would she stand her ground, or would Derek's offer change everything? In that moment of uncertainty, the question remained, which path would she ultimately follow, and at what cost? Sunlight dipped lower in the sky as the day of the cook-off finally arrived, casting a golden hue over the town square. Jamie felt a surge of nerves and excitement as she watched familiar faces begin to gather, each bringing a dish or a smile. Her notes lay open on a table, each scribbled idea fluttering gently in the warm breeze. The cook-off was about connection, a shared meal, laughter, and community support. As booths filled with sizzling grills and fragrant baked goods, the chatter of neighbors filled the air like music. Each laugh and playful banter sparked a warmth in her chest, pushing away the anxiety that had shadowed her since Derek's message. Clara was right, this was where she belonged. "Jamie. Over here." Clara waved, her hands dusted with flour from a fresh batch of cookies. Jamie smiled as she darted across the square, her feet lighter than they'd been all week. Clara handed her a cookie, still warm from the oven. Jamie bit into it, the sweetness melting in her mouth, a perfect slice of comfort. "This is going to be great," Clara beamed, "I can feel the energy." As the crowd thickened, Jamie noticed more familiar faces showing up, old friends, new neighbors, people she hadn't seen in years. Each one seemed drawn into the atmosphere of shared purpose. Yet, within her heart rested Derek's lingering offer, his name a faint whisper beneath the joyful noise. She pushed it aside for now. The cook-off kicked off with an enthusiastic speech from the town's mayor, amplifying Jamie's sense of belonging. They cheered for their neighbors, celebrating an entire community coming together. But halfway through the day, her phone buzzed again. The buzz felt jarring against the background of laughter. It was Derek. "I'm here. Where are you?" Panic rippled through Jamie. She looked up, scanning the crowd. When she finally spotted him standing at the edge of the square, an unsettling feeling coiled in her stomach. He looked confident, dressed to impress. "Hey! You made it," Clara said, oblivious to the sudden shift in Jamie's mood. Before Jamie could respond, Clara waved him over with excitement. Jamie's heart raced. How could she stand here with Derek now, when she was meant to be focused on the community, on this vibrant energy? Wow, looks incredible. Derek stepped in, his smile bright. But as he spoke, a shadow moved across Jamie's heart. She felt the weight of his presence, the allure of his ambitious plans which pulled on her dreams like a siren's call. Thanks. It's been a lot of work, Jamie replied, forcing a smile. We're trying to make it special. You need direction, Derek said, leaning closer. We can redesign this, amplify the reach. Imagine the possibilities. He didn't seem to see the people around, the excitement bubbling in the air. Jamie swallowed hard, remembering Clara's words, the importance of keeping her vision clear. But this is about them, Jamie argued, the need for community swelling within her. It's not just about bigger plans. Derek frowned slightly, but his eyes still sparkled with ambition. You could have both. With my help, you can make an impact like never before. At that moment, Clara jumped in. Jamie, look. She pointed to a booth filled with children laughing, dipping their hands into colorful frosting and decorating cupcakes. That's what it's all about. Look at them. Derek's gaze shifted, and in it, Jamie saw a flicker of hesitation. For a brief moment, the world around them felt simpler. But the tension remained, pulling Jamie between two roads, one paved with her community's joy and one laced with ambition and uncertainty. Could she really hold on to what mattered while navigating the temptations of the world outside? With each laugh and cheer that erupted around her, Jamie felt the pull of her heart deeper than before. Her thoughts tangled as Derek leaned closer, his voice low and persuasive. Don't miss out, Jamie. This could change everything. Determined, Jamie stepped back, the weight of the moment sinking in. She had to decide now, before the chance slipped away. As she looked around at her friends, her community, her heart cried out for clarity. What path would she carve for herself, and could she do it without losing who she really was? The air thickened with expectation, and Jamie knew that every choice had consequences. She took a deep breath, knowing it was time to confront the whispers in her heart. What did she truly want? And just then, someone bumped into her, knocking her thoughts aside. A child giggled and ran away, pulling her focus. Clarity was still so far away. Before she could act, a loud cheer erupted from the square, jolting her back. The cook-off was not done yet. But her answer still loomed, perhaps closer than she realized. With her heart racing, Jamie looked back at Derek, the question still hanging heavy in the air. What was she willing to risk for the future she dreamed of? With the sounds of laughter and the tantalizing aromas swirling around her, Jamie felt the weight of expectation pressing down harder. The crowd was buzzing with excitement for the upcoming competitions, but her mind was racing in a different direction. Deep in thought, she barely noticed as Clara pulled Derek into a lively conversation, their voices blending with the festive cheer enveloping the square. Jamie's gaze drifted back to the children frolicking near the cupcake booth. Their faces were painted with joy and carelessness, a stark contrast to the turmoil simmering inside her. A sudden wave of wistfulness washed over her. Was it possible to keep that innocence in the midst of adult choices and pressures? She turned slightly, distracted by movement behind her. A little girl, a stranger to her, whirled past, a cupcake smeared across her cheek. Jamie couldn't help but smile. The engagement, the laughter, the simple honesty of childhood, it was all there, unfettered by ambition or doubt. For a fleeting moment, she felt envious of their world, unspoiled by what lay ahead. Are you daydreaming? Derek's voice cut through her reverie, and she jumped slightly, heart racing anew. Just thinking, she replied, her voice steadying. About what we can create here. Derek leaned closer again, giving her a charismatic smile that was hard to resist. You can create a movement, Jamie. Your dream can reach so many more people if you just let me help you. But at what cost? She thought. Clara, sensing the tension, stepped in. What's your vision, Jamie? What do you really want? That question hung heavy in the air, dawning on her like a beam of light piercing through a fog. What was her vision? She had spent countless days imagining a day like today, but it had always centered on the community, the bonds forged over the heat of the grill and the love shared through meals. With newfound courage, Jamie spoke. I want this cook-off to be a celebration, a gathering that brings us together. Not just a stepping stone. Derek's brow furrowed. A celebration is great, but think bigger. With my resources, you could turn this into something amazing. People all over would look to you. Jamie's heart sank. She could feel the tug-of-war within her, torn between Derek's enticing world and the warmth enveloping her from those around her. Just think, Derek continued, unaware of her internal conflict. Your name could be known far and wide. Isn't that what you've always wanted? But was it? Jamie swallowed hard. She glanced at Clara, who nodded encouragingly, and then shifted her gaze to the crowd. The stalls were lively, the joy palpable. This was what mattered, right here and now. Maybe, she started slowly, it's not about how far we go, but how deep our roots are. Derek's eyes narrowed, studying her closely. You really believe that? I do, she said, her voice firm. Connection matters more than fame. I want to keep that close. As she spoke those words, a small spark ignited within her, strengthening her resolve. She could almost feel the weight on her shoulders lift, not entirely, but enough to allow a breath of fresh air through. Suddenly, the loudspeaker crackled to life. All right, everyone. It's time for the first competition. Let us see which team can make the best chili. Cheers erupted from the crowd, and Jamie felt the excitement swell again. She turned back to Clara, who clapped her hands in delight. This is going to be so much fun. But Derek stepped forward, casting a shadow over the moment. Don't you see? That's the start of something much bigger. You want this day to be a launching pad, don't you? The tension in the air was electric. Jamie's heart raced as she contemplated Derek's words against the pulse of the community surrounding her. What did it mean to stand in this moment, where dreams could either soar or fall flat? With every cheer erupting from the crowd, she felt more determined. Maybe she wouldn't have to choose between Derek's ambition and her friend's warmth. Perhaps there was a way to blend the two without losing her core, but as the competition began, Jamie sensed something looming. Was she really ready to take the plunge, even if it meant staying true to herself and the people she loved? Just as she made her way toward Clara, her phone buzzed once again, and she felt her stomach knot. It was another message from Derek. Think about my offer. We could change everything. The thrill of the day collided with uncertainty. She saw her future ahead, split between two paths. The excitement began, but could her heart handle the turbulence that followed? Jamie took a deep breath as she scanned the crowd once more. The answer might be hiding in plain sight waiting for her. Would she take the leap or hold on tight? As the loud chatter of the crowd reached a fever pitch, Jamie's heart raced even faster. The announcer's voice cut through the excitement, igniting a sense of urgency inside her. It was time for decisions that would shape her future. Ladies and gentlemen, the first teams have taken their places. Remember, this is all about community spirit, taste, and creativity. The cauldron of chili bubbling before them was just one of many concoctions, yet Jamie felt as if it represented her own boiling desires and conflicts. Clara pulled Jamie closer to the chili contest, her enthusiasm infectious. Come on. Let us really get into it. We're here to enjoy, right? Yeah, of course, Jamie replied, her voice catching slightly. She watched as families and friends cheered on their teams, caught up in the camaraderie. Their laughter pulled at her heart, making her realize how precious these simple moments were. It wasn't just about the competition, it was about being part of something larger. But Derek's earlier words echoed in her mind. What if she could create something extraordinary if she just took that leap? What if she let ambition drive her into the spotlight? As she felt her pulse quicken, she glanced at the small trophies lined up on the judge's table. Tangible symbols of success mocked her uncertainty. "Look at that!" Clara exclaimed. "This could be our chance to let people know what we can do." Clara's eyes shone with hope, and Jamie felt a familiar warmth swell in her chest, but while Clara's enthusiasm was catchy, a nagging fear lurked in the back of her mind. What if she lost sight of what mattered most? Yes, she had dreams, but these people, this community, they nurtured her soul. The teams began to present their chili. A young boy, no more than 10, stood before the judges, wide-eyed and trembling slightly as he presented his family's recipe. "I call it Wild West chili," he said proudly. Cheers erupted from his family, and Jamie couldn't help but smile. Here was pure, unfiltered joy. "See? It's moments like this that matter," Clara said softly, nudging Jamie. "This is the essence of what you want, right? Being rooted in what you love." She nodded, but faced Derek's message once more in her mind. He was right about one thing: this could be a launching pad. If only she knew how to make that work without losing herself. "Jamie, we all want to win, but there's a bigger picture here," Clara continued, her voice earnest. "What do you really want from this? Fame or connection?" Jamie inhaled deeply, the rich aroma of chili swirling around her, mixing with the scent of popcorn and cotton candy in the air. I want to give people a reason to gather. Like right now. I want to create bonds." "Then let that lead you," Clara urged. "No matter what anybody else says." Just then, her phone buzzed again, tearing her focus from Clara. She hesitated before looking, heart pounding at the sight of another message from Derek. "I'm here to help you. Don't forget what we talked about." The words felt like chains pulling her back into a world she wasn't sure she wanted. She glanced around at the vibrant crowd, their shared joy a stark contrast to the solitary warmth Derek offered. Jamie wrestled with the choice. She could feel the weight of it all. The announcer amplified his voice once more. "And the winner of the first round is," her stomach nodded. What if this decision defined her? Was she destined for fame, or was there a deeper connection waiting ahead? "Jamie?" Clara's voice cut through her thoughts. "You okay?" "Yeah, just thinking," she replied. The answer felt like a kaleidoscope of feelings spinning inside her. Before she could express her thoughts, the anticipation popped as the winner was announced. Confetti rained down like tiny victories for the crowd while the cheers erupted anew. Jamie watched, heart swelling, knowing this was where she belonged. As the next round was about to begin, Jamie faced a critical choice: would she let ambition overshadow connection? Or could she find a way to embrace both? The crowd's energy pulsed in tandem with her heartbeat. Could a name in lights ever truly compare to the embrace of friends united in shared joy? Before she could contemplate further, her phone buzzed yet again, this time with a picture and a simple, yet compelling line: "The future is ours for the taking, if you say yes." Jamie's heart raced with anticipation and fear. What lay ahead, and whose path would she ultimately choose to walk? The second round was set to begin, and Jamie felt like she was standing at a crossroads. A whirlwind of emotions swirled inside her. Clara's hand tightened around her wrist, anchoring her amidst the chaos. "You ready? This is our moment." But were they in it together? Jamie glanced at the steaming cauldron before them. Could cooking chili with Clara truly represent the potential for greater things? Or had she already opened Pandora's box with Derek? The phone buzzed again, shattering her focus once more. "Just breathe, Jamie," she whispered to herself, a soft mantra to anchor her racing thoughts. She had to be present now. The audience was buzzing with excitement, and the next participant approached the judges with a smile that radiated confidence. A middle-aged woman, beautifully adorned in a bright red apron, stepped forward, holding up her chili like it was a trophy. "This is family's love chili. It's my grandmother's recipe, made with love and a little too much spice." Laughter erupted, and Jamie's heart warmed. The connection was palpable. "See that?" Clara said brightly, eyes sparkling. "That's what it's all about. She's not just serving chili, she's sharing a piece of her heart." Jamie nodded slowly, feeling that familiar stirring in her chest. Yet, doubts hovered stubbornly in the background of her thoughts. What if she could package this love into something profitable, something that made a difference beyond just a contest? Would that bring her real happiness? With each round, teams presented their creations, sharing not just flavors but also stories. Jamie caught snippets of laughter and tears, tales of lost loves and everlasting bonds. The idea of using her culinary skills for greater connection stirred a fire within her, yet the flashing images of fame and success loomed relentless. Derek's voice echoed again in her mind, calming yet disquieting. When Clara nudged her excitedly as yet another team finished presenting, Jamie felt the weight shift slightly for a moment. This was more than just friendly competition, it was an album of emotions, all set to a symphony of flavors. Would she dare to be part of it? "I can't help but think of the possibilities," Clara mused, reading Jamie's expression. "What if we created something together, a community project, a pop-up event? It could help people to gather, just like this." Jamie's breath caught. "You think so?" The thought made her pulse race, both thrilling and daunting. "It's a big commitment. Everything worth doing is a big commitment." Clara insisted, her voice firm but gentle. "Look at that chili out there, it's not just about tastes but stories. And you've got stories to share too." As her eyes flicked around the bustling scene, seeing everyone's smiles, Jamie felt invigorated. This wasn't merely about winning, perhaps it was an invitation to embrace something bigger, to weave her stories into a tapestry of connection. Maybe, just maybe she let the thought hang in the air. Just then, her phone vibrated again, this time a message chiming in with a sense of urgency. "Remember, you have to choose. Don't get lost in this, Jamie. You know what we need." She clenched her eyes shut for a moment before letting out a shaky breath. The dichotomy of the moment pressed heavily upon her shoulders. Could she embrace the community spirit her heart longed for while still fulfilling the ambitions Derek had laid before her? The announcer was now building up to the next round. "And now, get ready for an incredible lineup. Each team is ready to show us something special." With Clara's encouragement anchoring her, Jamie realized she had to make a choice not just for herself, but for everyone cheering in that crowd. She opened her eyes, fueled with determination, catching Clara's excited gaze. Before she could voice her thoughts, a surge of clarity washed over her. The direction felt right, but she couldn't ignore Derek dragging at her thoughts. The tension in her heart intensified. "I need to decide," she whispered, her vulnerability surfacing. All eyes were on the contestants, and the moment buzzed in the air like electricity. Where would her thoughts and heart lead her? Would she embrace the warmth of connection or reach for something that could ultimately leave her feeling empty? Jamie. Clara prodded gently, sensing the whirlwind within her friend. As Jamie stood there, teetering between two futures, she felt an undeniable urgency in her pulse and wondered, would she find a way to fuse her dreams with her heart, or would she sacrifice one for the other? The next round was about to begin, and her time was running out. The announcer's voice rang out over the applause, drawing Jamie back to the present moment. The air was electric, filled with the scent of simmering spices and the low hum of chatter. She took a deep breath, trying to find her center amid the cacophony. Clara's eyes sparkled with excitement, and that infectious energy shot through Jamie, igniting her spirit. As the first team approached the judges with their culinary creation, a vibrant chili laden with beans, meat, and a tantalizing aroma, Jamie felt a wave of inspiration wash over her. They spoke about family gatherings, the joy of sharing meals, and how each ingredient was chosen with care. Jamie's heart swelled. This was exactly the kind of connection she yearned to create. "Look at how they light up the room," Clara said, nudging Jamie. That's what it's about. Connecting through flavor and story. The enthusiasm around her was infectious. Yet, her phone buzzed again, a stark contrast to the joy enveloping them. She cast a quick glance at the screen. Another reminder from Derek. You can't forget the bigger picture, it read. A lump formed in her throat. Derek seemed filled with ambition and expectations, but she felt trapped, caught between his vision and her longing for authenticity. The next team presenting was a pair of teenagers who shared a tale about making chili for their community, bringing together flavors from multiple cultures. The way they spoke, so passionate, so genuine, made Jamie's stomach twist with longing. This was the heart of cooking: unity, love, and shared experiences, not just profit margins or fame. Can you imagine? Clara whispered, we could do something like that. Our own community project. The words sank in. What if their chili adventure went beyond a competition? What if they created a space where people could share their stories, just like this? The warmth spread in Jamie's chest, mingled with her uncertainty. Would that really fulfill her dreams? Or would it just be a distraction from the path she had plotted with Derek? Next up. The announcer called, his voice booming across the venue. Get ready for something special. When the spotlight fell on Jamie and Clara, a hush fell over the audience. With Clara's hand still firmly gripping hers, Jamie felt a blend of panic and exhilaration. What if they failed? What if they succeeded? She couldn't help but think that this moment was a mirror reflecting everything she struggled with: the quest for identity amidst others' expectations. You've got this. Clara encouraged, sensing Jamie's apprehension. Just put your heart into it. Jamie looked deep into Clara's encouraging gaze and struck a chord within her. Breathing deeply, she summoned the essence of her journey: the triumphs, the failures, the love lost, and the friendships forged. This was about more than just chili, it was about connection. It was about life. As they began to present their dish, Jamie noticed the audience drawn in like moths to flames, curiosity and warmth lighting up their faces. She felt herself relax, losing herself in the rhythm of Clara's voice and the gathering crowd's energy. Food is our connection to each other, Jamie said, her voice steady. Every ingredient tells a story, just like we do. Cheers erupted around them, filling her with a rush of hope. She locked eyes with Clara, who mirrored that same spark. Could they really create something beautiful together? Just as they wrapped up, the air buzzed with anticipation. Jamie noticed Derek's face in the crowd, his expression unreadable. Was he proud? Upset? She couldn't tell, but as she stood next to Clara, enveloped by the warmth of their creation, it didn't seem to matter. But then, just as the applause washed over them like a wave, the announcer's voice took on a serious tone. And now, we have an announcement regarding the next round, one that might change everything. Jamie's heart raced. What could it be? Would this be the pivotal moment she had been waiting for? Or would it shatter the hopes she had just begun to embrace? Amidst the applause and cheers, she felt another surge of clarity. Was she ready for whatever was about to unfold? The weight of the moment pressed down, and all she could think was, sometimes, the hardest choices lead to the most meaningful journeys. Would she still have the strength to make those choices when everything was on the line? The crowd held its breath, the tension palpable as the announcer paused for what felt like an eternity. Jamie's fingers tightened around the edge of the table, her heart pounding in rhythm with the murmurs of anticipation. Clara leaned in, her warmth comforting against the stark uncertainty looming before them. Ladies and gentlemen, the announcer finally broke the silence. Due to an incredible response from our audience, we're introducing a new twist to the competition. Each team will now have the opportunity to collaborate with a community culinary mentor to enhance their dish further. A wave of gasps fluttered through the audience, eyes wide with surprise. Jamie's stomach dropped. The excitement swarmed her and yet tangled with that familiar knot of fear. Who would they partner with? What if they couldn't keep up? Would Derek approve of their choice, or would this be another misstep in his eyes? Do you think we can do it? Clara asked, her voice dancing with exhilaration. Jamie looked into her friend's eyes and saw the hope burning brightly there, igniting something deep within her too. Yes. Jamie replied, surprising even herself with the fervor. This could be the chance we need to truly connect. As the announcement continued, the details washed over her. Teams would be matched based on their dishes and inspirations. Partnerships with chefs who shared their passion for community, flavor, and storytelling. For the first time, Jamie felt a flicker of excitement drown out the undercurrent of fear. Nearby, Derek stood, arms crossed, scrutinizing her nearly as intensely as he did those towering chili pots. The confidence she felt flickered under his gaze. What would he say if they paired with someone who emphasized community over commercial success? If they didn't play to the top tier of culinary perfection, would they still be worthy in his eyes? Hey! Focus! Clara urged, pulling Jamie back from her thoughts. We need to talk about what we want to showcase. Who do we believe in? For a brief moment, they exchanged thoughts, ideas tumbling like spices in a pot. What kind of flavors represented them, their connection? What memories, what stories would guide their choices? Let us work with someone who understands soul food, Jamie said, remembering her grandmother's worn cookbook filled with handwritten notes and family secrets. Someone who sees cooking as a way to love and connect people. Clara nodded with enthusiasm. What about the chef from that local fusion restaurant? I've heard amazing things about him. As they whispered and planned, Jamie could feel her pulse steadying. The fear of disappointment started to ebb, replaced by the thrill of possibility. Maybe this was her chance to reclaim her passion and merge it with the expectations lurking in her life. 3 minutes left for pairing. The announcer called, cutting through impatience and excitement. The crowd bubbled with energy, eyes darting between the scenes unfolding on the stage. Jamie took a deep breath, letting it energize her. Suddenly, she felt a wave of calm wash over her. She leaned towards Clara, their hands brushing against each other. Let us go for it. Together. As the countdown clock ticked down, they finalized their choice, submitting a heartfelt letter to the chef, expressing their vision. Clara squeezed her hand. This is more than a competition now. This is our story. Yet, as Jamie settled back into the moment, a chilling sensation prickled her skin. What if the chef saw their idea differently? What if he didn't understand the heart behind their dish? What if they risked everything, only to find they had failed before reaching the goal? The announcer's voice broke through her thoughts again. Now, as our contestants gear up for the mentorship round, we have a special guest to lead off the first collaboration. The spotlight shifted, and Jamie's breath caught in her throat. A figure stepped into the light, one she never expected to see. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chef Rosa, the culinary star known for bridging cultures and cuisine. Her heart raced. Could her hidden dreams unfold here? Or would this encounter change everything she thought she knew about flavors and herself? As Chef Rosa stepped into the spotlight, the crowd erupted into applause, and Jamie's heart raced like a drumbeat. The energy surrounding the cook-off felt electric and filled her with a renewed sense of purpose. The vibrant memories of childhood meals flooded her mind as she thought of her grandmother's cooking, the warmth, the aromas, and the love that infused every dish. All right, chefs. Chef Rosa called, her voice cutting through the noise with commanding warmth. Today we're not just cooking, we're weaving stories through food. Who's ready to share their heart? The crowd cheered, but her words struck Jamie like lightning. This was it. This was the moment to combine everything she believed in, everything she had fought for in her journey through relationships, motherhood, and community. As she and Clara began brainstorming ideas with Chef Rosa, Jamie felt that familiar bond of camaraderie rekindle. They shared anecdotes of their favorite family recipes, the significance of flavors, and how food could unite people regardless of background. Chef Rosa listened, nodding appreciatively, her eyes sparkling with encouragement. This was the mentorship Jamie had dreamed of, guidance that honored their intentions and passions instead of pushing for mere accolades. Let us create something unique, a fusion of your grandmother's love with modern flavors, Chef Rosa suggested, her smile radiant. We'll serve up nostalgia with a twist. Jamie could hardly contain her excitement. This was giving her the perfect chance to bring her vision to life without sacrificing what mattered. All the flavors need to sing together, Clara chimed in, visibly buoyed by Chef Rosa's enthusiasm. We want our dish to embody the spirit of our town, the richness of our stories, the strength of our community. As they worked together, laughter bubbled between them like a simmering pot. Jamie found herself lost in the rhythm of chopping vegetables, inhaling the savory scents wafting through the air, each taste creating vivid memories. For the first time in what felt like ages, her heart was light. But the tension still hung in the air, a ghostly reminder of the decision that loomed. She could see Derek lingering at the edge of the crowd, arms crossed, brow furrowed. His eyes watched her, and with them, she felt the pressure of expectation and validation. In that moment, Jamie caught a flicker of fear that perhaps her connection with the community might pale in comparison to the prospect of success in Derek's world. Jamie, Chef Rosa's voice broke through her thoughts, remember why you're here. This is about your journey. Own it. With Chef Rosa's words igniting a flame in her soul, Jamie glanced around at her neighbors, her friends, her kids laughing at the booth, the community standing together. In that moment, it became crystal clear, she was not just cooking, she was building bridges, rebuilding herself, and reaching for dreams rooted in love and connection. Let us finish strong. Jamie declared, and as they whipped up the final elements of their dish, her heart soared. The clock was ticking down, and the energy of the crowd pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. They plated their creation, a vibrant chili infused with spices that represented her grandmother's loving touch, topped with a refreshing twist that Clara had dreamt up while they mixed in flavors. As they presented their dish, Chef Rosa beamed with pride, an unwavering light that cast shadows of doubt away. This is what food is about, she proclaimed, loving our roots while reaching for new heights. Take your stage. The moment froze, and Jamie could feel the weight of anticipation in the air. As the judges tasted their dish, the wave of fear was replaced with pure exhilaration. Cheers erupted in the audience, and everyone was embraced in a bubble of warmth. But then Jamie caught sight of Derek stepping forward. The crowd hushed, curiosity swirling around like a gentle breeze. He leaned in, eyes locked on Jamie, holding her gaze captive. What you've created here, it's everything I was trying to explain all along. You were always meant to shine like this. Jamie's heart wavered, caught between her past and her present, but she took a deep breath and responded with authenticity, it's not about shining alone. This is about bringing everyone along, creating real connections. Derek seemed taken aback but softened, a flicker of understanding illuminating his expression. The cheers of the crowd rolled through the air, washing over her like a wave of hope. The moment felt liberating, as Jamie finally embraced the challenge of merging her dreams with her heart's desires. As the judges delivered their verdict, Jamie knew she had triumphed not for accolades or fame, but in forging deeper connections with her community and herself. The announcement echoed in her ears, and the winner is Jamie and Clara. Tears of joy filled her eyes, and as the crowd erupted into cheers, she felt a warmth enveloping her. Every smile directed her way, a confirmation of choice and clarity, the choice to stay rooted while daring to reach for the stars. With arms wide open, she embraced Clara, her heart bursting with gratitude. This was more than a cook-off, it was a celebration of resilience, friendship, and the power of unity. As the day wound down and laughter surrounded her, Jamie realized she had not only transformed her life but those around her. No longer burdened by the judgment of her past or the pressures of the future, she found a comforting strength in her community, knowing they would stand together, united in their dreams and endeavors. Just as she glanced over at her kids, running freely through the crowd, laughter spilling into the afternoon air, she felt the last remnants of doubt dissolve. This was home, and as she stepped into the future, Jamie could finally let go of the shadows of rejection, allowing love for herself, for her community, for a life filled with laughter and connection to reignite her spirit. This was the moment. A new chapter awaited her, where dreams blossomed, rooted not in ambition, but in love and community. If you felt the impact of Jamie's journey and want to hear more stories that inspire and uplift, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like to help spread the joy of connection, comment your reactions, and share this video immediately with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. Your support means everything.